Um, my name's Ruth Schwendinger. I get to work with Prevention Network. And my favorite part about what I get to do is to support and encourage other people. And for this program, that means you all. And so I'm thankful to be here tonight. I'm thankful for a decent internet connection and technology that seems to be working so far. So Joel, I want to ask you to introduce yourself and then say something you're thankful for as well.
Sure, thanks, Ruth. Joel Hefner. I'm the Training and Technical Assistance Consultant for Prevention Network within the C3 grant. I provide a variety of different training and technical assistance to the state of Michigan through MDHHS and CMHAM, or Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and Community Mental Health Association of Michigan. I'm thankful just for every day I get to work with amazing people that do amazing things. I really appreciate and learn so much with all the different partnerships and networks I get to connect to. It is quite varied, very local, tri-county, regional, larger regional, state, and as well as some national connections. So again, a lot of amazing work by a lot of amazing people.
Thank you. So our purpose with these C3 programs is to build up coalition and community capacity to address substance misuse prevention. Our purpose in these workshops is really to address some local conditions that you all are experiencing, that we're experiencing, with specific tools and strategies. And so one of the things a lot of the C3 grantees are working on right now is a media campaign or a social media campaign. And when we're talking about this month's focus on communication, a media campaign is one of those times where you want to be very focused and very specific about what you're communicating, how you're communicating, who is communicating to your target audience, and how often and what the duration is for that communication. So we went over those 5 points in our podcast. We went over those 5 points in our communication planning session 2 weeks ago. Joel did, because he eats, breathes, and sleeps this stuff. But we're going to talk a little bit more about a media campaign, and what I want to talk specifically about how we measure effectiveness in a media campaign. Because oftentimes we'll have money that we're asked to use for prevention, and we figured the easiest way to spend money on a prevention message is to do a media campaign, do some radio PSAs and newspaper ads and billboards and radio commercials and things like that. So I want us to have a conversation around what data should we be looking at initially, and how do we measure if we've been successful in meeting our goals? Because if we don't have specific goals, then we don't know if we're being successful at prevention or not. And that's a hard thing to measure. And if we can understand better how to do that, we'll be a step ahead in the game. I'm just going to mute myself and let you go, Joel. And if I have questions, if anybody has questions throughout the way, please pop in with those. I see Addison's joined us. Hi, Addison.
Hello, I'm sorry. I think I was in the wrong meeting. This is the Capacity Builders Workshop, right?
That's correct. Welcome.
Great, thank you.
So thanks, Ruth. For me, I really want this to be a conversation. I think with a smaller group, we can get into some details and into some of the things you're dealing with specifically with your local coalition or activity. And what I have for you is a bunch of great resources and tools that you can that will be sent to you after today, and will be made available in a variety of different ways. But I also wanted to take the temperature of where folks are at, where they feel they're at with maybe not so much communication planning overall, but more specifically social media marketing campaigns. I've done a variety of them. I'll speak to that a little bit, but I really don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about what you're interested in and what you're working on. I have a few great tools on really guide to writing social media in general. So this is something I started with, and really it's the CDC's guide to writing social media. It's really, really helpful if you're not versed in business specific or agency specific social media platforms and how to utilize those in your activity, in your promotions, in your campaigns. Secondly, I'm going to talk about a little bit of what I've been involved in, and you can utilize some of the things that we've created, or I've created with some of my staff and our networks around social media campaigns. And you can borrow, you can adopt as much as you'd like, because we're not proprietary. I'm sharing these things with my Tri-County area, the Clinton, Eaton, Ingham, Lansing capital area, and beyond. So I want to make sure you take full advantage of that, or consider how you can take full advantage of what I can share. And then thirdly is what Ruth just spoke to. And we can jump there right away, or we can take a little time in between. Metrics, measures, and evaluation of social media marketing campaigns. It's actually amazingly simplistic once you understand the indicators you're looking at. And when I first started in this arena, I'm a data person. I'm very much a data person. I've been the chair of the state EPI outcomes work group for about 8 years. I lost count, actually. But it's been an amazing journey, an amazing experience for me to learn more about epidemiological outcomes, EPI work, statistics, analysis, and how to use data to drive decision making. So, and that's our sole function at the State EPI Outcomes Work Group. So I know you're going to like the metrics, measures. It's a few pager that we'll share, and it'll give you all the things you need to measure and monitor your social media marketing campaign. So before I jump into all of those things, and welcome, Brooke, happy to have you here. We're just talking about some of the things I'm going to offer and talk about, and this is a dialogue. This is a conversation. So please feel free to jump in with questions or comments, or where we'd like to even focus as a group, because we're a smaller group tonight. But first, where are we at? So how do you want to share, maybe individually, where you're at with social media and social media campaigns? Have you done a few? Have you done one? Are you just beginning? I see Paige nodding. She's done a few. Addison, one or two or a few. Okay, Brooke.
I personally have not done any. And my coworker has done, I think, one or two. But me personally, I haven't done any, and
that's
I'm
okay.
terrified of it.
Well, you're connected to them, so that's good. So you have that exposure. That helps.
Yeah.
And then here on Pigeon, I'm sorry, you're Amy.
Oh, I'm Amy. Yeah,
That's
we
right.
haven't done any specific campaign social media wise. We do a lot of awareness stuff, but it's not like a true campaign.
Okay, that's very helpful. So I appreciate that, because I think I'm going to really focus in on the introduction, and this is not an intro. This is really we're going to go from 101 all the way to 501. So I'm going to give you the breadth, and then you guys can really take it from there. But I want to start there with, I think the CDC's guide to writing social media. I just want to broach that and make sure you're aware of that. I'll have Ruth share this as a part of what we share and what we connect to folks. But let me bring this up. It's amazing. This is an older document, but when I started in this realm, this really helped me get a grasp on social media and writing for social media, posting for social media, the general things to consider around social media. So again, very, very important resource, as it is a little bit but it talks about the difference between Twitter and Facebook, the principles of effective social media and content. I think before you start, chapter 2 is really important. Target audiences, obviously, we've been talking about that with communication plan. Who is your audience for this? Is it a broad general population? That's okay. Or is it a specific parent group or parent population? Is it families and communities in general? Is it youth, whoever? But target audiences, my favorite piece of this, health literacy and plain language is something to consider. And with social marketing, and generally, what is it? What is the definition of social marketing? But for me, I'll just say this because this has been my path for some time, and how I feel about substance use disorder prevention, suicide prevention, behavioral health prevention in general is my role and function is to bring health literacy in our communities up multiple levels, or as much as I can move the needle, so people can be more informed, more educated, more empowered to make better decisions for themselves. For me, that's prevention. You're empowering youth, young adults, older adults, parents, families in making better decisions, being more aware of resources, and impacting behavior and perception, attitudes over time around substance misuse, abuse, and use in general. So again, there's the principles of effective social media, how to write for Facebook and Twitter. It goes on, some web content, hands-on practice, checklist for writing. I mean, those are some of the things I just wanted to share. We're not going to touch it more than this because it's a quick read. You bounce around to what you want to kind of take in, what is relevant to you, depending on your experience and expertise around this, and use it as you can. It's a great reference. It really helps people get in the frame of what is social media, and it says it right here, and it gives you a great understanding of we use social media to disseminate health and safety information, increase potential impact of important messages, leverage networks, create different messaging, personalize health messages, engage the public. So actually having a conversation with the public. I oversee our Facebook for CMHA-CI, Community Mental Health Authority of Clinton, Eaton, Ingham. 140 million is our annual budget. We have almost 500,000 population in the Tri-County area. We're trying to engage with that public. That's not easy to do. We have right now 3,000 followers. We're going that monthly, about 15 to 30 followers each month, increasing each month. So that's what our target is and our task, and empower people to make safer and healthier decisions. So I'm going to stop there. That is just a great resource to start with to get kind of acclimated to this. So questions, comments about that?
Can you show me that page again? Are we gonna get that?
Yes, I will. We will share all of this with Ruth, and then you'll get this as a follow-up, and will also likely be on their website and or potentially the CADCA resource as well. I'm not sure how Ruth wants to respond to that.
Yeah, so we'll share it out. I'll share it in an email follow-up tomorrow morning, along with the survey link for feedback. But one thing I was thinking while Joel, you were talking is considering our main purpose of our coalitions as we're putting together our media campaigns, because when we're talking about how we want to use social media is going to be different based on our purpose. So if our main purpose is sharing information and from other collaborative groups, that would be different than if we're trying to generate our own content and really shift the needle on public engagement, or if we're trying to influence policy, that would be a completely different way of using social media too.
Great point. And you know, it's not even in here, but you mentioned it, influence and advocate. We're also trying to reduce stigma in the work I do and the work I utilize and how I utilize social media. I am definitely trying to impact and reduce stigma around behavioral health, access to behavioral health, and behavioral health issues in general, because in a lot of things we share, behavioral health happens to everyone. It can be anxiety, it can be stress, it can be depression, it can be substance misuse, it can be a variety of different things. Eating disorders, I can go on and on. So again, when my lens is always behavioral health, so that's mental illness, substance use disorder, and intellectually developmentally disabled folks. So those populations are who I'm considering in all the actions I do. So again, I'm the prevention outreach coordinator for CEI. That's the behavioral health. That's the CMH in our area. And I'm going to give you a little sharing about what we've worked on. I've created the Stand Against Stigma, anti-stigma campaign, as well as create a Facebook toolkit that you may have seen. That is our communications plan, partially, but it's truly our social media marketing plan. So I'm going to share this, and you're welcome to connect to this. I'll provide a link to follow. But let me pull, I got so many things pulled up.
And that's
before.
available on the Prevention Network resources page as well, the social media packet.
Okay, great. I wasn't sure if it was already there or, oh, I have to, I know what's that. I have two things, a PDF open, and I have to open that other one and then I can share. My apologies. There it is. So why I'm sharing this is, oh, where'd it go? Oh, it didn't pull the right screen. I'm sorry. What I need to do is move it over to my other screen. Okay, here we go. The fun of Zoom. So here's the Behavioral Health Prevention and Wellness Facebook Toolkit version 3. We've created this as our social media marketing campaign, but also a tool for our providers and networks to do the work with us. This is, in all respects, this is somewhat how I present it. This is the easy button for others, communications departments, and Facebook posts. Because we're basically doing all the work and vetting content and reliable, valid material, information, resources, access to services, and putting it all into one place. So this is, again, community mental health. This is our publication, how to use the toolkit, mental health education, health. We go on to health and wellness, self-efficacy and motivation, trauma, suicide prevention, substance use disorders, anti-stigma, and we also communicate awareness days, weeks, months. We have a key surrounding what our posts include. They're either on CMHA CI services, which are across the board. So we provide substance use disorder treatment, as well as services for mentally ill folks, severe persistently mentally ill, and IDD populations. Community training opportunities, resources and community support, stigma reduction language, facts and tips. And I'll just give you a little glimpse of this, but this toolkit, again, has been specifically designed with our community partners in mind. So we want this toolkit to help our community partners disseminate information on our behalf and on their behalf about behavioral health, prevention, and wellness to individuals and families they serve. So we're trying to equip our partners with easy to use and useful information. How to get started. You simply copy and post. Copy and paste and post. You also can attach any images that we include. Again, the easy button. It's a copy, it's a paste, add any image, and you can post. My prior staff and I, but here's some more lengthy posts on our access and crisis services. Here's around, you can make a difference with mental health first aid. For more information or register for a class, here's our links. It shows attach the image, show your support. Next one, attach the image, mental health first aid poster. So it gives you exactly, these are again, social media toolkits. They've been around for some time. We just did it for behavioral health. You can do it for substance use disorder prevention. I encourage you to do something similar, maybe in a smaller fashion, and share it with your network so they can share it with you. There's our stand against stigma. So these are Facts Friday. People with severe mental illness are over 10 times more likely to be victims of violent crime than general population. Stand against stigma. So there's our hashtag. Did you know 6 million men are affected by depression? I'm going to skip through these because these are more mental health specific, but I'll show you the images that go along with those. What is stress? Go ahead, Paige. Mental health first aid poster, mental health facts.
Going out with your Fact Friday. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that like every Friday you had that on a schedule.
We have, we try to do that, but we're also offering this to others. So we utilize it for ours, and then we use it as an opportunity for others to do it as well. So it could be Wellness
wondering, like-
Wednesday, Fact Friday, you know,
Okay.
you could, it's just kind of providing the opportunity. It's not a forced thing. We have so much content in ours. My staff can pull from this, and we're creating additional. And that's just, again, our capacity. This took us, it's been 3 years, 4 years now. So we've built up a lot of content. And the beautiful thing about that is like the communication plan. You keep enhancing it and expanding it based on your capacity and readiness and staffing. Same thing with a Facebook a toolkit or a social marketing media campaign. You can continue to build upon it if you do it right in your planning.
So Joel, what Facebook account do you manage that, you know, that if I was to follow it?
So
Oh, I can
CMHA CEI, it's Facebook / CMH CEI CMH, I think is how the link is. I can send it and
Will you
put it in
just
the
throw
chat.
that in the chat? Because I want to go see what you manage, and like, can I scroll back to like your tips on Friday or your Friday?
You could probably check out everything, but you could also have this to utilize, you know, and or create your own.
Well, I'm kind of curious which of the, maybe not necessarily in the mental health, because we're working on a grant in substance use, but to see the responses, how many responses you got with which one was the most successful?
Yeah, our most successful ones are when we promote our behavioral health screening platform. So it has an action tied to it. Any posts about our services, our access center, our call center, and anything with video, advocacy, or our staff, which aren't necessarily here, but that's a part of our broader campaign. So I'll connect. Let me show you the substance use disorder section. Again, health and wellness we've created because I have, I mean, my background is a variety pack, but health and wellness is a part of it. I was teacher background, so I'm certified to teach in the state of Michigan for health ed, phys ed, but that was a long time ago. So we've created messaging around rethink your drink, get off the grid, don't sweat the small stuff, things like that, keys to wellness.
I had a question, Joel. You
Yep.
said it's not proprietary, it's open to sharing. A lot of this has your logo and your name on it. If people are using it, do you want them to keep that on there? Or if we wanted to, if we've been talking about creating a shared Canva platform for images and things like that, that can be easily modified with different coalition logos, would that be okay or not?
Yeah, what we say is if you're going to use the content specifically from our Facebook toolkit, that you can co-brand, you can add your logo potentially with working with our staff. It's you can connect with me and I can connect you with our staff my staff that does that. So we can add your logo to the image and you can share as you like, or you can share and tag us.
Okay.
So you're sharing the content. Now, some of this is specific to Tri-County area, but again, a lot of it is more broader. So let me get to the SUD section. Because there's trauma, there's 10 signs. Again, we promote our mental health first aid, coping with stress. We have a COVID support line, suicide prevention. We've really grown in that arena. We provide QPR, question, persuade, refer, and mental health first aid training. There's all the things that connect with it. We have prevention hotlines, suicide prevention hotlines. So here's this SUD recovery coaches. We promote those. We talk about our recovery center. So walk-ins are available 24/7 at the recovery center. You could, again, promote your treatment services, your prevention services, your training opportunities. We also promote our Ingham County Health Department's free Narcan training and kits. So we're promoting their services for them, and they can provide, they can connect with this Facebook toolkit. There's a ready-made post on their stuff, as well as any provider, any health and human service agency, hospital, police department can copy and paste and post about a Narcan training and kits available in a second. So that's really the benefit of having a campaign like this and having it packaged. There's quit lines on here. Is your drinking pattern risky? Talk, they hear you. Safe storage of opioids. I mean, we got just a variety packs. Here's some of the imagery that's connected. So SAMHSA's talk, they hear you, the recovery center, the quit line, there's mental health first aid. There's our recovery coach card that we produced, and there's the naloxone flyer, save a life. So this is, again, our pathway to a social media marketing campaign, and we're continuing to add to it and enhance it, and share it with our networks so they can share and promote and connect. So, and what this has been able to do is we have the resources and capacity, but our partners and provider networks don't. They don't have a communication staff. They don't have, and I didn't either when I started this. I was that person. So I get that. I understand that. So the idea is we can share our content with our networks, or we can create the content because we're the experts. You guys are the experts in substance use disorder. You create the content. It could be a few pages or a page long with a few posts around the specific issue you want to promote. If it's a opioid prescription prevention initiative, if it's access to services, if it's parenting programming, or if it's all of the above. So for me, I think this is a perfect segue to, okay, what are we monitoring? How do we monitor and track the content that we're sharing? And we do. We used to use Facebook analytics. That's no longer, but we do it in a different way, which is unfortunate. Facebook took that piece out, but what I have to share with you is really cool. And I've had it for some time. I pulled this from a variety of different sources a while back. Metrics, measures, and models, we'll share this as well. So for starters, Coalition have a website or blog. Do you measure social media? How do you do that? Through analytics, surveys, paid service, observation stories, or not yet measuring. And here's what you want to look at. So this is the analytics that we try to connect to and monitor as best we can. Main one, new subscribers or new followers to our Facebook. We have 3,000. We're growing about 15 to 25 per month. And it has not gone down in 3 years that we've been doing this. And it jumps up to 40 to 50 sometimes in a month of new followers, new likes, whatever it may be. And then it's engagements. So it's visitors to the page that are being promoted. You can go that far. You can look at number of, again, site visits or time on site if you have that available. What we look at is engagement. And really that's around the posts and comments. So on the bottom, it says participation or participate. So how much participation is happening on our Facebook site? And we look at our post like the numbers of posts, but really the comments, likes, and engagement of our posts. And we get anywhere from, it could be a low of maybe 5 to 10 to a few hundred. So we've gotten, posts that get into the few hundred likes and, with 40 comments. So we get to a reasonable success rate with engagement. And there's participation engagement is really where I would say people being able to monitor, because those analytics are most available via Facebook. So it's, again, likes, hearts, likes, loves, comments, things like that. And you can go from there. This is your menu of measures and metrics. So message penetration, thought leadership, key message reach. You can do a lot of that. Some of that's available, some of that may not be. But I think this is it goes on, around fees for services, for analytics, free tools around on Google and others. Some may be dated, but again, I really like how this it references Twitter, so retweets, stuff like that.
Joel, hi, this is Angela.
there.
How are you? In your area, do you ever advertise at, like in the movie theaters or anything like that, or billboards in the area?
So we have done paid marketing, paid advertising, and good to hear you, Angela. It's been a long time. What we've done is, if we have a formal grant dollar or some more flexible funding, we're able to pay advertising. Otherwise, as our Medicaid and block grant have restrictions on the use of that dollar for paid advertising. So for the most part, that's why we do this. I am a creative promoter, so I don't have a formal budget for any of this. I utilize Facebook. We're looking into Twitter. We're not there yet. We're really focused on our Facebook and our networks around the free Facebook promotion that we can do by this pathway. So I love the formal advertising, the paid advertising. We do that with our HR, human resources right now, because we're having staff shortages, as is everyone else. But we are only using paid advertising for recruitment, retention, and something of a formal grant that pays for advertising. So like if it's a trauma-informed program and they have funding for that, or if it's a new treatment provision or treatment service and they have funding for that outside of our Medicaid and block grant.
That sounds good. Because I was just wondering, at our agency, I think that's what we could do more of, utilizing social. And one of the things that we discussed with the prevention staff is possibly looking into doing TikTok videos, because the young people are into TikTok videos, and everything you see, even if you're on Facebook, it always alludes to a TikTok video. So we were thinking about, how much of an effort, how many people would it reach, and, could we get our message out and what we need to get out and, and reach the masses. But I think that Facebook is a good tool, and it's a good free tool, and it reaches a lot of people. So
I would agree. That's great. I love your point about TikTok, because that is exactly what we're thinking about. It may supersede our movement into Twitter because of the audience. We are looking at considering the youth audience, and TikTok is it. That's your best pathway for that audience. With our Facebook, it's more professionals, parents, families, guardians, in the population that could utilize this information. Really, everybody can. So I really like your point about TikTok. I would love to see that. And are you still with Detroit Wayne, or are you where are you at,
I'm
Angela?
still in the with Detroit Agency All Wellbeing Services. And with Twitter. So you said that you guys are looking into
Right. Yep.
starting a Twitter page. So what the challenges that I see with Twitter, so to speak, well, I'll say with my own Twitter page, is that you have to have someone to man it all the time and constantly tweeting about things and staying relevant. Because if you just go every once in a while, you know, you won't be relevant, you know. So, you know, I think that even in, you know, when thinking about that, you probably would need to have someone who is going to be, you know, tweeting a lot, you know.
I agree 100%. I feel like Twitter is out of reach for a lot of provider networks because they don't have the staffing to even manage Facebook well. Facebook should be 3 posts roughly per week. And that's at the minimum, bare minimum. And so that is something to consider with going forward. I know we want to be trying new things and trying to get the message out, but focus more on your Facebook and growing the likes and followers, and that'll be on their news feed. Again, 3,000 followers, that's a pretty good catchment. We have a ways to go. But we're gonna, you know, Detroit Wayne, I think, is leading the way at that's CMH, and they have a lot of great stuff happening there, and that's excellent. We're hoping for the same with ours. So that's a great point about Twitter. Unless you have a volunteer that can dedicate that, or someone that's willing, it's kind of an empty space unless it's really, really heavily managed. Other comments, thoughts?
I do. I have one more. And then I'm gonna stop. I have one more.
You're good.
So you said early on, when I first kind of like signed on, I heard you said that there is a page that you manage, correct?
Yep.
Just you.
Yep.
So one of the challenges that I see with my agency is that sometimes before, and I've heard this, you know, on other meetings, that the challenge that they have at their agency is that they have to go through so many channels before they can actually post. And by the time, you know, they're posting, the information is not necessarily really relevant. So what kind of advice could you give surrounding, you know, that type of barrier?
Well, is it the staffing, or is it the communication plan or communication department approvals?
Wait, what was the first part you said?
Was it staffing, like they're not connected to that staff, or is it trying to get through a communication department's approvals?
That the second half.
Okay. And that's tricky because the state of Michigan, I work with their communication department on with my work in the councils and associations I'm connected to. So that is tricky. What I would say is make sure you have a good relationship with those communication staff and department leads, and understand what they need to get approval. So the state of Michigan has to fit a lot of check boxes. They have to manage that. Larger agencies, again, I'm with a larger CMH, one of the largest in the state, like third largest, but we're able to, I oversee that. So I have a public relations and outreach staff that does the actual posting. I did at the beginning. That is, you know, that was a few years ago. So now it's grown a little bit farther. What I would say to other folks with communication departments is connect with those staff, work with them, and bridge the connection, and they can be an asset. They can also be your greatest promoter. Once they understand your interests and you understand their requirements, because their requirements are sometimes tough.
Thank you.
Yeah, does that help? I mean, it's really getting a relationship established.
Yeah, that helps.
With that staff,
Yeah.
or with that lead, or even with you know, content managers or content staff that do the posting. because they can definitely let you in on the requirements that they have to meet before it gets any farther. So I'm going to add, oh, there it is. Ruth's got it. Facebook.com/CEI-CMH. I was right. I wanted to confirm that, but she got it in the chat. Take a look. Again, we're at 3,100 followers. And I think for us, what has been really nice is the agencies that connect to us and share some of this content. It's helped them grow their network. They didn't have to do anything but copy and paste and post, because the content is relevant, it's important, it's necessary, it's life-saving, it's really valuable. And for me, that's how I approach everything in my arena. Is this information is life or death. And if we're not doing a good job of getting information out, that's on us. And so that's why I'm very vested in supporting others getting this information out to their communities. I can assist. I can, definitely provide content feedback. I've done this for a long time. I've almost created everything that you see with CMH, the mental health first aid flyers, the recovery coach flyers, the things that the wellness content, the substance use disorder. I oversee that language and that content. And I think you guys are the experts. You have the content. You just maybe, if it's a little design assistance, because that's something I didn't have before, you can get that through maybe an intern, someone at a university, someone at another agency, a partner agency that has a communication staff. Your health departments do. Maybe they could provide some assistance with design.
One of the groups that we got to work with when we were working on having students help create messaging was the marketing team, the marketing class at the local tech center.
Yep.
So even high schoolers
Great.
can do a really nice job with some of those things. And when we were talking about, and I just want to take 2 minutes here, Joel, and we were talking about youth engagement with Dawn Flood in January, we talked about getting down on the floor and being involved and being engaged and doing the work with them and going through the process with them. And one of the ways that Angela mentioned with just the TikTok videos, that seems to be a really effective way for youth to communicate. And it seems a really comfortable way for them to communicate. And so I know a lot of our C3 grantees are talking about having youth create PSAs. I think TikTok can be the new PSA. And so just equip and empower and make sure it's youth led, and then support and encourage and equip the young people that you're working with on that. But don't be closed minded just because it might make you uncomfortable to appear in a TikTok, because it would be really fun to show that at Showalition this year.
Yeah, and that content is something that others can adopt. And so that's why I encourage Angela and others to venture out. If I can be connected to that or part of that, I'd love to support that in any way, because that content and how it is reacted to and how it responds to the audience, how the audience responds to that is gold. It's something that you can utilize that over and over and have your own youth create similar. And then it creates a movement of messaging similar to our Facebook toolkit. And again, our partners. So our Facebook activity is impacting the Ingham Health Department's Facebook activity, and theirs is impacting ours. So it grows. Our Eaton Risa, Peckham, Lansing Community College. I mean, all the groups that we work with are utilizing this, and they're connecting to our Facebook, and we're connecting to theirs in a variety of different ways. And I think that's the power of social media, is the interconnectivity. And we don't utilize that enough. We're kind of like, we got a website, a coalition website, and a Facebook. People have liked us, but do we actually tag, share, connect, promote, and make that a focus? Other thoughts, questions, things you want to dive into a little further?
A really simple question, and it maybe Ruth, you can talk to me through this offline, but like I'm on my phone trying to connect to your site, Joel, and I keep being following as like my personal because, and even if I toggle back to my coalition, I can't follow you as my coalition. It keeps going back to my personal. Is there a trick to do that? Is that easy to explain, or is that
And
another?
you're the administrator for your web or your coalition site?
Yeah.
That is odd.
It keeps putting.
Because usually as an administrator, you should have the ability to, because I do that and I can like as CMHA right now, or I can like as myself. So I guess it may be
I hit follow and I didn't like it. So maybe that was the difference.
that probably is. There is also an administrator level. So I can give authority to at different levels to other administrators of our Facebook business page, business, site. Because it's a Facebook for business or agency. So I would check that or the sequence of following, then liking, or vice versa. Any other thoughts on that? I'm open to others' experience with that too.
It's probably a permission setting page.
Because you can definitely give the permissions to post and manage all content, only review content, only comment. I mean, it goes pretty, there's multiple levels, that's for sure. And we use that for sure for our staff, because there's some folks that just post for their specific department, and that's it.
Well, I'm it. So I thought it'd be very easy, but that's okay. Well, we could discuss another time.
Well, try other ways if you can like or follow, or if it's another way. And sorry about that.
So when I'm
Other-
logged in as an administrator on a Facebook page with groups I manage or with pages I manage, and when I like or follow something, it asks me, it prompts me, do you want to like this as yourself,
right.
or do you want to like it as your page? And so if that's not happening for you, you need to go into settings and change the settings on that. And if there's somebody else who started the page years ago, which
Right.
has happened before with our Suicide Prevention Coalition, we had to track somebody down from who had left the state 7 years ago and say, would you please add me as an admin on this page for this coalition? Because I'm now coordinating that group.
I feel that pain, Ruth. We had the same thing happen 5 years ago, and that was tough. And it was an agency that owned control, and that was ugly. But it actually worked out really well, but it was so hard to figure it all out.
So suggestion, have 2 people at least with full access to that.
Yeah,
And
definitely
full
give
permission.
yourself full access page. Give yourself full authority. Any thoughts? I mean, this is what we're here for, is any barriers, challenges to these types of things. Any other insights? People want to share their successes? I love that. There's a lot of great things going on with coalitions and how they're creatively promoting. Again, most of you don't have advertising budgets. Some may within a grant or within a carve out, but any thoughts, things to share?
My coalition, the ACT Coalition in Dearborn Heights and Inkster, is currently working on a campaign that we're going to run throughout the month of March. And it's going to be a spring break campaign for like the youth. And we're calling it #NickFreeSB. So basically they're going to try not to use a vape or anything like that over spring break, or if they haven't started using tobacco products, the challenge is to complete spring break without starting. And essentially they're going to record a little bit of a TikTok every day that they don't use their vape and see how far they get, and then post their TikTok. And we're making it a competition between different schools in our school district. And we're going to give like the winning school a trophy. So that's, I don't know, those are some like incentives that we're trying to utilize to try to get these kids to stop vaping because it's definitely a problem.
That's great. And do you have like your school district and your coalition members and agency Facebooks connected to that, or kind of like on the ready to promote and share or tag?
Yeah, we're still in the planning stages. We still have to like get a meeting with the schools and everything to make sure that it's fine to do all this, but I just wanted to share that's what we're working on. And when you commented about TikToks being like the new PSAs, I thought that was great. And like also the fact that youth do like to get involved in this stuff, like they do like making TikToks. It's something they do in their free time. So, meet them where they are. If that's what they enjoy, then, tap into that, I guess.
That's great. No, that's great. Very creative outlet, and it again meets them where they're at. And I feel like there's a lot of potential for TikTok, but also I'd throw this out there. Facebook has Reels now, Facebook Reels, and that may be where you can cross promote or share. Addison, do you know, or does others know if the Reels are similar format, or you can cross share in that way, similar to TikTok?
I know that you can post, there's like several different things that you can, I don't know. All the social media platforms are like trying to compete with TikTok right now. So pretty much
Right.
all of them have like a way to post these short videos like that. So Instagram has Reels. I'm not sure what Facebook has, but YouTube has YouTube Shorts. If you use a YouTube channel, so you can just like create one TikTok, save it to your phone, and then you can repost it to Instagram and YouTube if that's what you use. So it's a good way to utilize only one piece of content across several platforms.
Right. It's a great point that everybody's trying to catch up to TikTok. So it'll really help because of, limited staffing. If you're not able to get into TikTok, you can potentially connect with the Reels or those movie shorts in other ways. Yeah, I think Ruth wanted you to, can you share your hashtag again, Addison? That's
Yeah,
all.
hashtag NickFreeSB for nicotine free spring break.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. The metrics stuff, again, I shared, we'll share that via email. You can take a look at that. Pick and choose. Don't feel like at all you have to, look at all of those, because those are very high level social marketing media campaigns for businesses, and to every degree that they can monitor and track and measure their outcomes. For me and for what we do, it's really likes and follows, obviously the number of posts, but likes and follows, engagement of those posts, concerning likes, loves, or hearts, comments, and beyond. So those are really the participation and engagement numbers and metrics that we monitor. And if we do any boosting of posts, which we do have a small budget to boost some of our best posts, we monitor those same things as well.
Well, I had a really specific question, and then I want to see if Brooke can tell us a little bit about why she's not looking forward to jumping into the social media pool, and see if we can troubleshoot or deal with some of those potential fears maybe. So, but Joe, my really specific question for you is, you said at minimum we should be doing 3 posts a week if we're using Facebook as our primary social outreach. You've already got the material created for the most part. How much time per week do you spend managing that page now that you've got all the material already created?
So my staff, PR and outreach staff, and I did it at the beginning, I started with just sharing and tagging. So, and I created some posts depending on the content that I could create. And that's a great start. But I think now that we have the content, she's able to send me a monthly calendar of posts. I approve those, she's off and running, and she can basically schedule them out as she sees fit, and sprinkles in any additional posts like a press release, an event information or update, or something else that's going on with our agency or activity as a behavioral health provider. So it works really well with a content calendar and a Facebook scheduled calendar of posts. And so again, these are available to you. You can pull some of these and utilize them in whatever way you like. If you can tag us, that's great. If you want to co-brand a chunk of this, it would take minutes and just an email to myself, and we can add your logo and send it back, and you're off and running. So, and Brooke, you know, any thoughts that stand out? Has this been helpful? Is this kind of,
Yeah,
I know
so
there's a lot here, but it's, again, there's places to start and you move from
Mhm.
there.
and I guess to your question, Ruth, there's, I guess I need to like clear up a little bit of confusion maybe. So my role is I'm a participant in a coalition, but I'm not like,
Right.
I just
Not
go to the
staff.
meetings. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't, and then like, as far as like my day-to-day work role, which is like grant funded and Boys and Girls Club, we have a social media director who like everything has to go through her per policy just to make sure that like the messaging is all
Right.
like kind of cohesive. So that's kind of like why I don't deal with the social media part. And then the other kind of bigger reason, which is just like past trauma stuff. It's yeah. So it's not something that I am willing to touch just because of my personal experiences with it. And it's not better off that way.
Right.
Well,
Honestly,
I'm
I'm
glad you're
terrible
not
about
in
it.
a role that you have to do that. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Certainly
Yeah.
don't need to put you on the spot. So.
No,
Oh, no, it's fine.
I
But I think
appreciate
this
that,
is
Brooke.
very helpful.
Because that brings up a great point, though, for just a note about trolls and different content that you may walk into.
Mhm.
Is my entire time with Facebook and overseeing this has been very specifically tied to bringing safe, supportive, very positive messaging in everything we do. I will not touch political. I will not touch a multitude of things that get us in the weeds as an agency or as an entity or as a coalition or association. So you have to think about those things with, you know, triggering or things about for substance use disorder issues, things about any political banter or political charged materials. I stay away from that, and I don't even get close, because for me, trolls and what they're called trolls is for folks like that they're just searching for that content and want to respond, or folks that have trouble with content and want to have an argument or want to yell and complain, or you know, make accusations or call an agency horrible. We want to stay as far away from that as possible. So what, again, we stay in the positive, supportive, very helpful orientation with every bit of our messaging.
There's two ways, two good ways to help manage that when you have some negative interaction on social media. And one of the things is to reach out individually, you know,
Yep.
in a private chat and say, look, I'm sorry that's your experience. How can we better support you? We would love to learn more about that, possibly connect you with our recipient rights person so that we can improve and not have that happen again.
Yep.
The other thing to consider is that there's not just trolls out there. Over the last 4 years or so, we've come into contact with bots. So bots are automatically generating hate speech and clickbait things that are not even real, and they're just designed to look like a real person is behind them. And so really strongly encourage anybody to go through a little bit of basic training on social media if you're going to be putting material out there, so that you don't get drawn into that as well.
And that comes back to the CDC content that I am that will shared. And then I have a user guide, social media user guide that we created for our CMHA CEI. I'd be happy to share that. It's a really good document that is for our staff and administrators, mainly our administrators, on being mindful of all of these things that we're talking about. So you can reach out to me for that. But Paige, you had a question or comment?
It was answered. She
Okay.
answered.
But great stuff. I really appreciate this. This again solidifies things for us and trying to do better around this area and continue to grow with a TikTok and everything that we're all talking about. And the future of social media is here to stay, and it's something that I really hope people can gravitate to and to lead potentially, or expand on as they can.
Usually we spend about an hour going over content, and then we spend about half an hour with Q&A and kind of troubleshooting local conditions is how I intend to have this go on workshop nights. But I just wonder, Amy, I know I've probably taxed your brain today. We did an MPDS training earlier today. Not the most exciting material, but thanks, Angela. I'll make sure we follow up email tomorrow. So Amy, are there any specific things that Tuscola is dealing with right now with social media or with other media campaigns that you've been involved with that has gone well or have been really challenging when you tried to, make it more generalized to other areas?
We haven't really done one specific on a topic, and that's where we're going to be doing this with the grant, I think. We haven't talked about how we're going to do the social media, but as we build like this capacity building thing we got going, this is going to be a great connecting piece. So anytime, like for instance, our county has 9 school districts, 14 villages, cities. And so like today, all of our coalition members were tagged to a community. So they're gathering the faces of the people that control the social media in their communities, or how they connect to their residents. And so sometimes it's still, mailings, postcards, water bills. But in others on the Facebook pages, like when I talked to I took the town that was left, or the community that was left, and I got Unionville, Michigan, which is a population 480 people. But that's 480 people that likely aren't connected to anything. We're super rural. So when I'm calling around village council president, but they're just like, I got a hold of the village clerk who manages the Facebook page and also does the water bills. And I said, is there anyone else besides you, Jessica, that I would need to connect to your people? And she said, no, I pretty much have all of them and from the surrounding towns that follow our Facebook page. And they have a village website. So when all of these communities, every member tagged 2 members per community, are out there grabbing that, when we have a spreadsheet full of these emails, we will send out exactly the campaign we're trying to do. So we've never done anything organized, but this will be our first push. So whatever topic we choose, which will have some substance use theme. So I want to go over what you have there, Joel. So we will push to the spreadsheet, and they're like, of course we'll put it out there. If there's a Narcan training in the county, we'll put it out there. So events, safe and sober events, Narcan training, what's available going on at the health department that's connected to everybody prevention-wise. We should then have capacity to share anything. So they're interested in substance use. It's kind of we have stigma as as all communities do. So maybe we'll start with that. We don't have an order, but we're just going to try something just to push it out there and see if it gets the response. We're still in the collection phase of the data of the people, the faces of all of these communities. Some communities don't have a face, so we go to the township, you know, and the townships are sometimes more active than the one store community. So you have to go find these people. And, you know, we only have 53,000 people in our county. I don't even think it's that high. So our goal outcomes are going to be measured on, hey, can we find 30,000 of these people? Can we do it by using everybody else's web page and just sending the message? So that's how we're building. Not sure what the message is going to be. That has to be talked about. But once you have a spreadsheet like we're going to have, and it's all going wild, I don't know. I think we can possibly at least educate, if not make change.
That's impressive that you can connect with that many individuals within those rural sections of the community. That's excellent. I mean, that's awesome. That's a great way to dive as deep as you can into the communications because they are, you're right. They're connected to their, you know, if it's a chamber of commerce or if it's the community network, that's just really cool. Cause I think your messages will hit home because
I think because it's sensitive topics and they want to hear it from people they trust. I mean, my face is not going to sell this, but their faces and those members, they will trust them to say, yeah, you know, we have this issue. We had 40 overdoses in our county last year. And so we want to make sure that that message is out there, no judgment. But
right.
If it's presented not necessarily by my face or coalition member, but from the people that care about them. So I don't know. This is a brainstorm that I had. I don't know if it is even going to work. But I do know that just in my conversation in Unionville, population 480 that I had today, they were just like, yeah, hey, why don't you come visit us? And yeah, whatever is going on. And all I said is, you know, sometimes our county seat is who gets all of the resources.
Right.
And we want to our outcomes are going to be based on pushing the radius out to the edges of the county lines. We want everybody to have an opportunity. So with this grant, you know, one township said, you know, we just do mailings. And so we'll print all the labels. And if you have something you want to go out, you just mail it. So we would pay the postage. I'm like, oh gosh, you know, okay, we'll do that. They don't have Facebook page and they don't really, our social, you know, Wi-Fi is not like everywhere great. Not everybody has it. So if we have to do mailings, then so be it. If we have safe and sober events, or we just want to push out, you know, drug drop collection campaigns, then we're just going to mail. We're not going to just rely on social media. So I don't know. Everybody's reporting back, or should be reporting back here by the end of the week. And the spreadsheet is slowly gaining momentum of who these people are. And so it works.
That's great.
I don't know if it's going to work. So like, oh God, don't judge.
No,
I'm praying this works, because once the bridge is built,
yeah, all
other coalitions and resources in the county can use the same bridge.
Yep.
You know, so it doesn't have to just be substance use. You know, there's thousands of cool resources that can be spread through this bridge, and there should be tentacles everywhere. And by the time that we're done.
We found the same thing out. We totally did that. We're going to provide this information. We're going to initiate a bridge, and we're going to see where it goes. And it's been nonstop. So it's no one has negated or pushed it away or said, no, thank you.
Yeah, so I was kind of nervous. It can be, I was kind of nervous if we were going to be rejected by it, because a lot of our communities are being led. I hate to generalize, but this is what I'm seeing is senior, older men. And so they're very resistant to Are we
Mhm.
supposed to be talking about that? I don't know if we're supposed to be talking about that. So like some of these topics are sensitive, but you know what? So far they're like, for sure. In fact, would you like to come speak at the township meeting? I'm like, okay. So, we're just starting to, people want to hear about us and I didn't even think they'd want to do that. So, okay, we'll come talk to you
Timing.
about what we're trying to do.
Timing is everything, Amy. I feel like this content is so relevant, and that's why we're getting such good responses from the things we share. I mean, we're suicide to mental illness to substance use disorder, and everything's been very well received because it's very relevant. Over the past 3 to 5 years, the needles are moving, the stigma is being, addressed, and just by you guys making those connections and having this information shared in friendly ways and supportive ways and helpful ways, you're addressing stigma. You're reducing stigma in just sharing information, opportunity to connect, access to services, whatever it may be.
See, that's the key to social media though, that you want to have it, is because they don't have to interact, but they can read the messages. So they stop the uncomfortable feeling.
Right.
So you don't have to interact. You go, oh, I see there's an event in another town, so I don't have to go to the one in my town, but I can go to another town where people aren't going to know me and I can participate or look at, there's the resources and the phone number that I really needed, but I didn't want to ask. So it really needs to be a part, but it doesn't have to be solely. I mean, I don't want to base everything on social media, but I think it's important that it stops conversation and maybe that uncomfortable, like I need help or my family member needs help or whatever it is. I don't have to talk about it. No, if you want me to come talk about it, I'll come talk about it, but social media stops that.
It's another medium,
Right.
it's another, and I think it's a medium that we have to consider, have to include. Paige, if you have a question or comment, go ahead.
I have a question. First of all, I'm kind of going back to what Addison, I'm very intrigued by your, I'm so sorry, I'm a little brain foggy today about your campaign coming up for nicotine on spring break. So my question is she has now created this campaign that she's going to be doing. How long should a campaign be? And how do you get kind of organized to do that? I've worked with Trello boards before. Is there some kind of platform that kind of keeps me organized? And again, how long should a campaign be, or does it really matter?
I mean, there's a lot of different ranges. I like the 3 to 6 months, 3 to 5 months is what I've read and what I've seen, where you have a time frame that's established. You have a start and stop in a sense, and you can take measurements and have outcomes or indicators tracked at points in time. So beginning, middle, and end. And I mean, that's the general theme. You could be 6 to 12 months. It depends on how much money you have and how much effort and or
For like just taking
time
Addison's,
available.
Addison, I'm just going to keep going back to your campaign, your spring break. So you had mentioned 3 times a week you should be posting just on Facebook. I'm just talking that. If we do take her spring break, are we talking for like a whole month, 3 times a week? So, 12 times, or should it be like leading up to it, or does it really depend on the campaign?
I think what we're planning to do is first so it's going to be like a month-long campaign, but I think we're only really going to post a lot about it like the week before spring break, just so it's like at the top of their mind so that they don't forget. And we're also going to have a banner with a QR code that they can scan to like see an example video of the TikToks that they can make. So that will kind of help them, and that'll be also beneficial because it'll be in the cafeteria where there's like a lot of foot traffic and stuff like that. So based on like those components, like I don't think we'll have to post on social media as much. We're still definitely going to send out reminders on our social media and stuff to take part in the actual spring break nicotine-free challenge. But since we're going to be making flyers and banners that are going to be physically in the schools that we're targeting, I think it's going to be less of a focus on specifically social media promotion for the campaign. But then the campaign itself will be mostly on social media with the kids creating videos and stuff like that. So I don't know, hopefully that helped.
Love it. Great sharing, great networking. This is very solid stuff as far as what's happening, what's impacting people, and sharing the resource and expertise.
I know sometimes there's spotty internet connection. But I wanted to say hi and check in with you and just give you an opportunity to share what media campaigns or media outreach looks like for Delta.
You were a little garbled in the beginning, Ruth. I'm not sure if everybody heard the first part of. Maybe Sarah did.
Hi, Sarah.
Sorry, I
just wanted to say-
didn't hear all of that. What was that?
I just wanted to say hi and glad you're here. I know that sometimes internet connections are unstable, and as I was saying that, apparently I was garbling. So I wanted to give you some space tonight to just kind of talk about what media outreach looks like, what social media outreach looks like in Delta County, and see if you're having any specific challenges that you want to talk through with the group or with Joel or anybody.
Well, for Delta County, obviously we're up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so we're very rural up here. We've started a Facebook page but it's been a little difficult getting help to manage that page. It's only me and one other coworker, so between running the programs that we do, sometimes that gets neglected. And I was hearing other people talk about being current and like minimum of 3 posts a week. So right now we're finding that to be difficult, but that is one of the things that we have put at the top of our agenda for our coalition to members that want to step forward and maybe help with that, because it's just really important. And I keep hearing like maybe even starting with TikTok, and it's like, oh my gosh, we can't even handle our Facebook page. But it's definitely something that that we want to get better at. So
I felt the same pain when others asked us about, and we're a big agency, asked us, okay, time for something else, or time for, well, hold on, we're really just still trying to get our Facebook established and to be self-serving, self-sustaining in a sense, because for larger counties, or I'd say 50,000 and up, if you have, less than 50 or 100 followers or likes, that's really something it's a starting point. I think the movement up, and 3,000 is not in the range of some folks, because that's going to take some time. We have the benefit of a lot of things with our size and scope of an agency. So you have to understand it's okay. It's okay. But are you building it? Are you growing it? And I think for me, when I started, it was just sharing. I didn't have time to create posts necessarily. We were working towards that. So my thing was to resuscitate the Facebook itself, because nobody in this 1,100 staff in an agency, no one really knew that we had a Facebook account or a Facebook page. That was in 2015, 16. So again, there was really no activity for a large agency. So again, it's very much capacity readiness. I would say just share and tag, or just share other reputable associations, national agency posts. SAMHSA is always good, CDC. You have a ton of different reputable sources to go to around substance use disorder issues, infographics, data, and resources.
Thank you.
Because I feel that pain. It's not easy. We have other jobs. We have 20 things, 20 hats or more.
Yes. Yeah. It's difficult with just the two of us. So thank you.
Yep. And I think one to two posts a week are fine. Build on that. But I think sharing others' posts that are from, again, reputable sources, easiest thing I've done. It's the quickest And then you're growing your, what is that called? It's on the back end, but you're growing the pages you monitor and kind of connect to your partner agencies or allies.
Okay.
And you just scroll through that and share and go. Other thoughts, other comments, questions? We'll get you the information if folks that join late, we'll get you the CDC's guide to writing social media, just for again, kind of the beginning things to consider, but also for those folks that may need just a refresher. And then I have a metrics, measures, and evaluation of social media marketing. So it gives you the indicators, the types of things you should track and monitor, or at least the types of options of indicators. And it's mainly around page likes, followers, and engagement of posts, likes, hearts, and other comments and beyond. And I think from there, the Facebook toolkit we have the CEI's Facebook that on the chat, if you want to connect to that and see some of our content or activity. And I'm going to share the updated version to Ruth as well with the Facebook toolkit, third version, which you saw. I think what she had previous is a second edition, all still relevant and good content. We've just updated it a bit, and we're working on the 2022 version.
Thank you.
And they're actually available on our website, sorry, on our publications tab.
Well, I appreciate Addison. I feel like you're probably 3 years ahead of some of the rest of us when it comes to using social media effectively. I think that when there's an exciting opportunity to connect with something that's relevant and an active group, that's exciting. Are you a part of the Michigan community on CADCA?
I'm with the ACT Coalition in Dearborn. I'm sorry, I'm new, so I don't really know all
Okay.
like the terminology and stuff. I'm actually like a PR person, not like a substance prevention use specialist person. So I don't know everything about our coalition yet, but I'm still learning. But yeah, we're all still learning social media. There's definitely things that I don't know yet. So it's just, take it one day at a time, throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. And once you figure that out, go with it.
Well, that's amazing. And you do have to just keep trying new things and not be afraid of failing, because as long as the content you're sharing is not stigmatizing and is accurate information for the time, you're not going to go wrong. And so I think that it's really good to have those filters, to have a couple of people look at things before they go out, especially if you're not trained as a SUD prevention specialist. But I love that you're looking at new ways and continuing to offer opportunities for people to have their voices heard and lift those voices of youth in your community. I asked about the CADCA Michigan community specifically because it's a forum that we created for this program so that people could share ideas and tools and resources and videos and there are different things that they're doing actively in their community, and I think it could help lift up what ACT is doing. And I think that would be a really neat place to share that when you have a couple of videos, or just share that hashtag out so that other people can say, hey, that's a great idea. We want to do that next year.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear how that goes and just the success of that campaign. That's great. I think it'll do awesome because the kids are going to be, it's a safe space and it's an opportunity for them to share their thoughts on, the things that are impacting them. It's great.
Joshua is helping me, and I appreciate his presence tonight. But I just wanted to say thank you. And is there anything else you need, sir, for this evening before we log off? Nope. Okay. Well, Addison, I'm going to follow up with you
Is that a
with
question
the
to me? I'm sorry, I was
page.
distracted by my light.
No, that's fine. So you were shaking your head. I just wanted to know if there's anything else you need for tonight. Okay.
I'm all set. Thank you.
he's the man who gets people their certificates for CEUs. So show him some love tonight. Just wave goodbye as we go, but I'll follow up with those materials that Joel's going to send me, and we will send that with a survey link in the morning. I appreciate your feedback. And one of the things I'm specifically asking you, whether you're brand new to prevention or don't consider yourself a prevention person yet, or if you've been doing this for 20 years, what else should we talk about? We're going to talk this summer about building trust with different groups. And we're going to talk next month about sustainability, and then about advocacy, and then about planning strategically with different experts. And Joel has been amazing. He's still available for technical assistance, one-on-one things, and that's funded through this program. And so if you have specific things that come up that you're struggling with, or you just want to bounce ideas off of somebody who knows and has been around a couple of times, send him an email, reach out to him, reach out to me. We'll make sure you have a time to connect. But in the feedback form that you're going to say, it's like a 1-minute Survey Monkey thing. Let me know what else we should talk about, what else would be beneficial to cover within these workshops, because I really want to meet the needs that you have. So, thank you, everybody.
Great stuff. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good
Thank
to
you
see
so
everybody.
much.
My pleasure.